Hello, hello. We are live. We are live. What setup that was? I'm not going to lie. I thought, you know what? I'll set up all the cameras. It's going to look ace. But that took a little bit longer than I expected, considering we were out streaming the other day at another event and all of the cables were elsewhere. So before we do anything, I'm just going to make sure we're live in all the places that we should be live. So let me just double check all of these. And let me know where you're watching from. If you're in the Facebook group, if you are on YouTube, or if you're on Amazon.com, it will be good to know where you are. But we'll just keep going regardless. So yeah, we're talking about cameras. I think cameras is one of the, I'll say one of the most important things when it comes to streaming. A lot of people do think, let me just actually double check that audio is going through everywhere. A lot of people think you've got to spend loads and loads of money on cameras. That is not necessary at all. Excuse me whilst I look at my phone. I'm just going to go into the group. There we go. We're all good on that side of things. So yeah, a lot of people think that's the thing you should go out and spend loads of money on. That's not true. Use what you've got, and you've probably got all sorts of stuff that is acceptable to get you started. But what I'll say is start where you are. Let me know in the comment section what you're currently using. If you're using your iPhone, these are great for going live on, by the way. The microphone on them isn't great. We talked about that last week, but we're going to touch on a few different things. I have got set up my standard camera that I always use here. I love this camera. I've got the inbuilt camera on my iMac here. I've got a webcam and I've got a video camera as well. So we're going to be doing some different things and you'll be able to see the difference of this. Now, caveat for this is a low light setting. I turn the lights down in the studio, make it a little bit romantic. But the lights in the studio are set for this camera here. Whichever camera we're using, we could tweak and adjust those and get a almost identical-ish setting with some of them. So let's start out again. Let me know where you're watching from, whether you are in the groups or which part of the world you are on. This is the live streaming for hypnotherapist group and the live streaming boost. And if you have any questions or comments about live streaming, then feel free to kind of drop them in and I'll do my best to answer them. There is no such thing as silly questions. Well, I mean, there is a couple of silly questions, but don't worry about that. Excuse me slurping my tea as well. And excuse me making loads of noise as I use my mouse on here. It's going to be a bit fly by the pants as we change different camera angles and stuff like that, but that's completely okay. So let's see where we are at. Just go into the group here, make sure that's all coming through. Yeah, but not live stream is one of the best ways of getting your message out there to build that authenticity with your audience. And if you can do so in a way that's going to kind of grab their attention and draw them into your stream, it helps you deliver that message so much more. And so this show is about kind of tips and tricks about how you can do that as well. Dan is in Michigan. On the Facebook group, I use Q2 4K, sometimes my Sony NXCam. Boom. But Dan is a bit like me. He's a bit of a gearhead. It doesn't matter where you're starting with your streams, but that's a nice bit of kit. But Dan, if you don't know, if you go to any of his conferences, Dan gives away some of the best prizes in the world. So I think at the last Michigan conference that Dan organized, he actually gave away a whole podcast kit, the Roadcaster, which was an amazing bit of kit. And I saw the lady that won that. I think it was Tracy, was it? Was it Tracy that won it? But I saw she was going through and starting to podcast, so that's ace. So let's go through a few of the things. What we're looking at now, this is the Canon M50. Well, let's start at the beginning. Most people will have an inbuilt camera on their computer. It's generally at the top of the screen, or if they've got a laptop, it's on the top of the laptop there. It's that little pinhole dot. Generally, when your camera's on, there's a little light on there to attract your attention to it. Amanda Dodd, absolutely correct there, 10 points. And I've seen how she is now podcasting, which is great. So let's go over to the inbuilt camera. There we go. Look at that. Very different audio-wise. Let me just make sure we are still on here. Audio, we should still be, I'm checking that we're still listening to this microphone. I don't want to be going to a different microphone, so just give me a second because we are jumping all over the shot. Yeah, we are still on there. We're still on the good microphone. So yeah, so you can see that's very different. It doesn't cope with the low lights quite as well, but still not bad. Now you see, I've got different shades of lights here. So if I turn this light down a bit, that would probably make that a little bit better. And look, you can see the edges of the studio here as well. So yeah, that's the right way around. Yeah. So this is the inbuilt camera. Always make sure you kind of look it into your camera. Always make sure as well that your camera is at about eye level. So I'm lucky I've got a stand-up sit-down desk here, so I can adjust the height of the camera if I need to, and it keeps it at eye level. If you're having a conversation at eye level, it really helps because it means you are kind of eye to eye with the person you're having a conversation with. This is going to help build that rapport and trust. So this is an iMac I have here. Again, it's a nice bit of kit, but most cameras or laptops are going to have something inbuilt. It's a great place to start, but what you've got to remember with this is the sensor on these. I mean, most screens are tiny. In fact, how big is this? How deep is this? We're talking, it's not even an inch. That's an inch apparently. It's not even an inch deep. So there is no real kind of sensor in there to let in extra light or anything like that. So you are going to be very limited as what you can do with that. You'll notice it's a little bit fluffy and there's not too much contrast between myself and the background. And it doesn't cope with this light very well. It kind of overexposes. You can see these spots here that's overexposing. And the problem with that is that's going to detract people's attention and they kind of look at this shiny, it makes some of that grey look a bit greyer. But don't worry about that. So that's that. Now what I'm going to do, just as a comparison, I'm going to put this side by side with the M50 so you're going to see the contrast. I'm always going to balance everything out against my M50 just because it's my favorite camera to use. So let me I'll take that off there. I'll put these side by side so you can see them. And you can see the difference there. Oh, I'd like to think so. Obviously there's a microphone in the way there. But with this one, there's a little bit more depth to it. There's a lot more contrast there as well. And again, this is a mirrorless camera with the 22mm f2 lens. So it really it gives you a bit more control over how your stream looks. But that is one extreme to the other. So what you're currently looking at over here, that's thank you for that, Dan. Yes, that's because I took myself off screen, so we should be all right there again. Always good to have someone to tell you when you lose sound. There we go. Yeah, that's the point. You've got multiple cameras. If you're going to take your camera and your audio off, you're going to take your camera and audio off. So where was I? Yeah, we're now going to go on to a webcam. Now, this is a stream cam. Logitech were the kind of the name for when it came to webcams. And many of you, one of the first good webcams you would have purchased would have probably been a Logitech C920. They were the absolute bomb-proof market leaders in webcams for such a long time. A great bit of kit, and still, I know people still using them now that are great. When the pandemic happened, there was a big push to try and get more webcams out there, and you kind of got the Logitech Stream Cam. I'm going to show you what it looks like first, and then I'll bring it on camera. So I'm going to go back over to this camera as well. I'll bring this up here, and I'll just bring this round here. So you can see that I've actually got it on my, let's try and get the autofocus on it. I've actually got it on my microphone arm at the moment. There you go. And it is a really nice looking piece of kit. I've got a little spirit level on the top just so I can know when it is level, even though I've just unleveled it. It's a good looking camera. So on the front of this camera, you know, what can't speak can't lie. On the front of this camera, you have got the Logitech branding. It's got a little fabric face on it there as well. And you can see again a little light in there. What's great with this is it does also have stereo microphones in there, so it really does help with your audio. And the software that this comes with really does help with the kind of contrast and stuff that's going on as well. So I do really recommend this. This was the first kind of webcam I got, and I absolutely loved it. It comes with two little grips, one to put it on a tripod and one to clip it onto the top of your screen. Don't lose them because you can't buy them on the secondary market. They are absolutely amazing. So I'm going to bring that up now, and you'll get to see the difference between the two of those as well. And again, whilst we're going through this, if you have any questions or comments, then do jump in and ask. So this is the Logitech stream cam. Let me just show that in stream. There we go. So again, it's a little bit between the two, whereas this is let me just actually, no, I'm going to label them. There we go. So there's the iMac, and this is the Logitech. Look at that for technology. And so you can see the Logitech one is probably a bit, it's a bit too much kind of contrasted there, if you know what I mean. But again, we're still getting that wash out here. Now, if I adjust the lights for this camera, there we go. You see, that's not me adjusting the lights. That's me using my hand to adjust the lights. In fact, you know what? Let's go in there and adjust it. So we can come down on there now, and that's a little bit better. Now we can see that that's a little bit better. Again, with all of these cameras, adjust your lighting accordingly to what you've got. And so, yeah, so out of the two, I prefer the Logitech. And with the software that the Logitech comes with, you can adjust your color balance. You can play around with some of that stuff in there as well. I don't have the software on this computer anymore. Do I? Let me just have a look. I might do. I do not. No, it is not on this computer anymore. But in that software, you can adjust white balance, you can adjust flicker rate, you can adjust all sorts of different things. And you can add some graphics and some stuff in that software as well. It does make a massive difference in kind of making your stream look a little bit better. So that is the Logitech. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the iMac off the screen for now. There we go. So look, that's not too bad. Like I say, I'll probably get rid of some of that extra light there, and that kind of makes it a little bit better. What do you think? Which one do you prefer so far? For me, my money is still on the Canon M50. There we go. But like I say, that's a little bit overexposed. But again, in the software, you can play around with that. But again, let's just compare that to the M50. See, look, now you'll notice the M50 is now a little bit darker, and that's because we adjusted the lights and we took it down a little bit. And so, yeah, let's put it that way. And then we go. Again, still sharper, still crisper on the M50. It's still a bit fluffy there, but again, let's see if we get, yeah. So, yeah, but that's it. The great thing for webcam, especially this one, is if you are doing traveling, this can just go into, let's just come off this one now. Let me just adjust this lighting back again. So with the webcam, what you can do is if you are traveling, it can go in your laptop case, your laptop bag, and it means you've got a decent camera that can go with you and travel with you. Yeah, exactly. But again, I think with a lot of things, you get what you pay for as well. But the Canon, just for me, it's just got that nicer look and feel to it as well. I do have a Canon video camera. We're going to go into that in a second. But yeah, so by having the webcam, it can go in your laptop bag. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I do travel with this Canon M50. However, it has to go in its own protective case. It is a bulkier item. And again, you're talking about that size of the sensor. The stream cam, it does have a decent space for a sensor. Let me just show it you. You imagine that compared to the size of the top of your laptop. You've definitely got a lot more space there for the sensor. You've got definitely a bigger lens on the front there. It's definitely a step up, but then when you compare it to the M50, it's definitely different. That's what we'll say. But tool for the job, great for on-the-go meetings, last-minute zooms, that type of thing. It is great for that. Let's jump into the video camera. Now, this is very different because, again, depends how it's been set up or how you want it to set up with the lighting and everything. But let's just bring that up in stream now. There we go. So you'll notice this is a little bit less fluffy than the original inbuilt camera, but it's still got that kind of wash through it there as well. That's probably, just mirror that camera there. That could probably be fixed. Yeah, we've still got that wash out there. That could probably be fixed on screen. We could adjust some of the white balance there. He says, but he tries to do this stuff whilst we're live. Always good. We can adjust the exposure there as well. There we go. And so that's the thing. It's about playing around and getting it to how you want it to be, and then making it work that way. So again, the color's not as rich, but again, you could play around with this one. Now, this is a proper video camera. Now, the reason why I'm using this as a demonstration, a lot of us do have webcams or old video cameras hanging around. And if you get something like, just something simple like this, let's just get one screen on, shall we? Otherwise it gets confusing. You get something like this, then you can literally take the HDMI from, come on, catch up. There we go. So you take the HDMI out from your camera, put it into this, and then at the other end of here, it turns it into USB. This is a capture card. This is a very inexpensive one here as well. But it means as long as you've got what's called a clean HDMI out, then you can use whatever video camera as a webcam. Now, when I say clean HDMI, what that means is if you don't have a clean HDMI, when you plug it in, then you're going to get all of the stuff that's on the camera coming up on the screen. But that capture card does a brilliant job of that. Yeah. I mean, again, yeah. The benefits of the video camera is if we're doing events or if you're at a big conference and you want to kind of get, a better zoom, that as an event camera works so much better. It's got a better zoom on it. It's a bigger unit and it's a dedicated video camera. So that is a great bit of kit. Yeah. But again, one of the most important things is start where you are. The camera quality on these is phenomenal. Audio can be a bit of a challenge, but the camera quality on these is as good. If you know what I mean, it's just phenomenal. Depending on your operating system, if you're using Apple, then you can use your camera or your iPhone as a webcam, and that really does look fantastic. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend that as well. Let me know in the comment section if you've got any questions or comments about what you're using at the moment, and if you would like to kind of tweak it or make it better. One of the few things, not gear related, but if you're using your laptop, if you've seen clients on Zoom or anything like that, again, like I said earlier, elevate your laptop so it's kind of at eye level. I see lots of people using their laptop, maybe on the coffee table or on their desk, and then angling the camera back. And you've kind of got this upwards angle, which doesn't feel as natural as an eye-to-eye conversation. So one of the best tips you can do is make sure there's nothing too bright behind you. Make sure you're the brightest thing on the screen. And then make sure your camera is set at eye level or maybe just slightly above eye level. And then it feels more natural to the person you're talking to. It feels like you're having a conversation rather than that weirdness that everybody seems to do when they've got their laptop open on the coffee table and it's just angling up the nose and the back of the room or anything like that. Although I must admit, if I'm tired and I've got to stream at silly o'clock in the morning, which I do sometimes, I do run the risk myself of doing that through a laptop. So yeah, that's why you should always have the webcam ready. So yeah, so that's various different cameras. I'm going to bring them all back up on screen so you can see the difference. Let me just put the Logitech camera back in its holster. There we go. So I'm going to put them up side by side, and they're all labelled as well, so you can see the difference. I've got to make sure I've positioned myself now somewhere in the middle, and you can see there. That's a great example of the difference there. Out of those, to be fair, the Logitech is the one that I like the least. However, with a bit of tweaking, you can make that work. I believe the iMac is the weakest one there. It's a little bit fluffier. And again, the M50 for me is the one. That is a mirrorless camera. There we go. The M50 and the video cam are both Canon as well. That's the Canon Lugrea, I believe it is, which is a great bit. I don't know where to look. I've got like everywhere to look here. It's sending myself dizzy now. But you can see the difference in those. Let's put that there we go. There you can see the difference there. And so it's about how it handles light and color and contrast. But most importantly, it's about what you're wanting. If you're just going to be seeing the odd client, then you don't need to invest too much. But you know what you do put out there, you know, especially if you're going to be repurposing your content, the better quality that you can put out there in your stream, the easier it is for you to repurpose it later on and then kind of use that for shorts or TikToks or anything like that, which all of your content you should be doing that with. If you're doing a webinar, a TikTok, a live, or anything like that, make sure you chop it up and repurpose it. Record it once, use it 5 or 6 different times, if that makes sense. Guys, thank you for joining me this week. Next week, what will we be talking about next week? Let me know in the comment section. If you're in the group, let me know what challenges you're facing when it comes to live streaming. We will probably be talking about repurposing or editing or something like that. But do let me know what you want to know. Every Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time. Well, thank you very much. I say I'm well and blessed. I'm getting there. Although I literally was running around in a panic this afternoon because I was supposed to be on somebody else's podcast, which was the second time I've forgotten that. But I was a week early, so that was good. Stephen, hopefully you are well too, buddy. Good to see you, read you, whatever the term is. But yeah, thank you for the comments. So yeah, let me know in the comment section. And we will be here every Monday talking about live streaming and how it can help you with your coaching practice, your therapy practice, or even if you just want to get a message out there. So take care, and I'll see you next week.